right? So code is developed by dev team and given to us. So if they give, how many environments you will test before pushing the production? So that is the one we are going to see, very high level. So not so much. Let's go and see that. First, I want to give you one more. So this is the Windows-based application, and this is the web application. So web application has a 3 layers. Windows application has a 2 layers. Server and client. Here, web application has a clients, many clients will be there. Web server, application server, database server. So 3 layers will be there. Okay, so this is the architecture. So client is nothing but our every person. Oh, is it? Okay, sorry. But nobody telling. Okay, so this is the web application architecture, application tier, web server, and database server, and will be there. And from internet you are accessing. That is the web application. Web application mainly runs on internet. If you don't have internet, web application you cannot open. So Windows-based applications, you don't need an internet. So if just exe file is present in the system, it will run. You can use that Windows-based application. So that's the difference. Okay, so these are the test levels where I'm talking. There are different test levels. Unit testing, so component testing, integration testing, system testing, user acceptance testing, last final production environment. So production environment validation. Okay, so first, so the developer will develop the code. Okay, developer will develop the code, and he will deploy in one environment, one test environment, or his own environment. So the development team has a separate environments. They will deploy on their environments or testing environments. So one tester will test this M1 module. So for example, developer 2 is developed another module, that is M2 module. So he completed his testing, coding, everything, and he deployed here. So then this one is developed and tested by tester 2. And another one, D3. So this is, so another developer will develop his own user story and he will deploy here. So all are individually testing. First unit testing is done by on their machines. So unit testing is I already told. It's a micro function testing. So to test the each function is working or not. That's a unit testing is done by development team. Once unit testing is done, it will be deployed on the testing environment. The component testing will be done. Component testing means testing the individual components. Testing the individual components. is called component testing or module testing. Once it is done testing here, this environment code, this environment code, this environment code will be deployed here in the integration environment. So there, once code is available in this environment, integration testing will be performed. But I'm not sure this many environments will be maintained, testing and staging. So nowadays, people are merging this one test environment, one stage, then one production. That's a different environments will be there in different companies, but based on the companies, before production, you have multiple environments. Multiple environments will be there, and all the developed code will be deployed on these environments and testing will be done. But what is integration testing? Integration is nothing but combining individual modules as a single unit. And then you will check the data is flowing between one module to other module properly or not, you will check. That's the integration testing means. So, and system testing. System testing is nothing but so once integration is done, this code will be moved to this environment. So here you will perform system testing. System testing is nothing but entire system will be tested against the requirements. So against the user stories or acceptance criteria based, the entire system will be tested against requirements. This system testing also called black box testing or functional testing. So in the system testing, we have positive testing, negative testing. Positive testing means inputting the valid data and checking the application behavior. That's a positive test case. Negative test case is provide invalid data and try to test it. So check the application behavior. It should display appropriate error messages for the invalid data. So that's the negative testing. And once this system testing is done, there will be UAT testing. So UAT testing means user acceptance testing. So you tested here all the test cases. Regression testing is done, everything is done. Now, UAT testing means, so the code is correctly working as per the customer requirements or not, you can check. That's a UAT testing. So user acceptance testing. So user acceptance testing will be tested, and there are two types of user acceptance testing. One is alpha testing and beta testing. So alpha testing can be done inside the company by the senior test engineers and business analysts. They will test it before handing over to the end users. Beta testing means, okay, this environment you will give it to end users, who are the customers or end users, right? For them you will give, they will play around with that, and if any issues are there, they will report them. So anywhere issue comes, you have to report it. That's this UAT testing and user acceptance testing or acceptance testing, we call that. And then once this everything is perfect, so it is accepted and signed off by QA and also end users, business people, they have tested it properly, then code will be moved to production. So production, there are two servers. One is working condition, another one is in ideal state. So working condition like your Facebook, your Gmail, Amazon, these are all now real production environments. So that means live environments. So those are used by many people. So while deploying, first they will deploy into the standalone environment where it is not operational, and another one is operational, right? First they will deploy here and they will make it operational, and they will stop this. So that is going to serve for all the people, and immediately the same code will be deployed here also. So both servers will be maintained in sync. That's the how code will move. See, this is the development to production, how many levels of testing is happening internally. Then only it will be given to the customers. Without testing, you cannot give it. Without testing, you cannot give that. So that is called different test levels. But I have given a lot of notes, but you don't need to read. Test. So unit testing means testing the individual components. So small units. That's a unit testing. It is done by developers. Component testing is done by, see that. This is the individual components. Login module, search module, add to cart module. So each one is independent. So that is if you are testing only login, that's a component testing. So integration testing means you are joining all those modules. So combining all those modules is called integration testing. So, but these are, we don't need, you don't need to focus much on it. So build, that's okay. We don't need to bother about that. So there is a GUI testing also, graphical user interface, or UI testing we call that. So you will check look and feel. Okay, look and feel, whether this is look proper or not. All the, see the mandatory field require star is present or not, and this error message is displaying or not, and all are aligned properly or not. So that's what you are going to check. So page, how it looks like. Are they proper space they have given? Are they are aligned properly? No spelling mistakes. So all this will be checked. So that's this. UI testing means. Right? So that's a UI testing. And what is positive testing? As I mentioned, testing the application by inputting valid data. And a positive functional flow is called positive testing or happy path testing. So entering a valid username and password. That's a happy path flow or positive testing. Negative testing means, so you will perform the testing using incorrect data or invalid data or without data. So that is called negative testing. So provide invalid username and password, then submit the login button. So that's the one negative test case. So that's the negative testing, how we will perform. Other than that, we don't want much. Acceptance testing, I already told. Alpha testing and beta testing. Okay. So these are the different test levels. What are the different test levels? Unit testing, component testing, integration testing, system testing, acceptance testing. Acceptance testing, again, two types: alpha testing, beta testing. Okay, so those are the different test levels, and how many levels you will test. Then you will deploy the code to the production environment. So it's not directly they will developer write the code and you will test and you will deploy in the server, production server. No. Before you will do lot of testing. You will do lot of testing on different environments. Then you will provide a sign off. Then only that code will be pushed to production environment. Okay, so that's the different test levels, how code will be moved to the production environment. Next topic, test plan. Any questions on that? Test levels? No questions?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. What is the test plan? So as I mentioned in the testing process, test plan is one of the component will be developed by QA manager or a senior test engineer or test lead in the team. So then what is a test plan? And who will develop this? Okay. So test plan is a plain document. Like maybe you can write in the Confluence pages or Word document. It's a plain document. So basically which explains what are the objectives, scope, approach, and focus of a software testing effort. So the process, why you need to prepare a test plan is so anybody can understand, okay, what you are testing and which product, and when you are starting testing, what you don't want to test, what are the different testing types you are following. All this will be covered in the test plan so that anybody can understand, okay, this test plan belongs to which project, what they have covered. So very clearly mentioned in the test plan document. Okay, so that's the test plan definition. So test plan, so main goals is so to tell the end users and customers, so and know what are the risks are there while testing this application, what you are covering, how you are testing, and so all these details will be included in the test plan document. So there is a test policy, one more definition. Test policy is going to give a rules for testing, how to test that. Test strategies, overall high level approach. So like you have to get it reviewed, your test cases by your product owner or So you are going to report to the particular manager. So that's the test plan means. And so let's see what are the content will be there in the inside the test plan document. So test plan document has these are the contents. So you have about client and company. So who is the client, and so who is the main company working for which client, and then reference document, your testing documents like use case documents, requirement document, screenshots, all will be mentioned here. And scope means what to be tested, what not to be tested. So you will mention, so what features you are going to test, what features you are not going to test, that will be mentioned here. Then overview of the application. So what is the application exactly? That application overview you are going to give. Testing approach. So what is the test strategy you are following? What type of testing techniques you are following? What type of testings you are performing? Manual testing, automation testing, performance testing. So who will do what? All this will be mentioned here. And then for each type of testing, when you will start, when you will end. Each type of testing, okay, you are doing a component testing, or you are doing a system testing, or you are doing UAT testing, user acceptance testing. When they will end, when they will start, so that will be clearly given. What is the criteria to start a testing? What is the criteria? So those, if you want to start a testing, the development team should give a build, right? Otherwise you cannot test it. Otherwise you cannot test it. So that testing will be so easily to monitored here clearly what is the criteria when you can stop it. Next, resources and roles and responsibilities. Okay, in the team, who are all will be there, what is the each person role and what is his responsibilities will be clearly defined. So suppose for this project, who are all responsible? Your manager name and who is working on that project. How many people are working? Their names will be listed out, and each person role what. So you will be mentioned. What is your role? Maybe software tester. That is your role. Or one more automation tester is there, his name, and you will tell automation tester. Okay. And responsibility means as a tester, what you will do. So as a tester, your responsibility is checking the mails every day and responding to the mails, attending the meetings every day, giving your status update, and understanding the requirements, and closely working with the developers and business people, and writing the test cases is the primary responsibility of a tester. Anywhere you go, you have to write the test cases. Then make sure it is reviewed by any one of the development team or product owner. Then once you get a build, you start testing, report the defects in the defect tracking tool, track them, monitor them. If any bug fixed, you retest them, and then verify them. If it is fixed, close that defect. These are all statuses you have to follow. and then you have to give a sign off on different environments you have to test. Make sure it is working in all the environments. So whatever they are given new feature, it should work in all the environments. And also not only new functionality, previous functionality also should work. So that's the regression testing. So retesting I already covered. Regression testing, then provide a sign off. Sign off means you are certifying that everything is working properly. No blockers, no critical bugs, no major bugs. Just a slight UI bugs are there, that's okay. UI bugs are there, that's okay. UI bugs means that's not functional related. It's not a functional. Okay. So that is the roles and responsibility of each person, what he is going to do. It will be described in the test plan. Defect definition. So in the defect definition, what is the blocker bug? What is the critical bug? High severity bugs. If those bugs are there, can you say sign off? No. You have to inform them. So these are the critical bugs. You must fix them. Any functionality is not working, it's a high priority bug, high severity. So that means they must know address that. That means they have to work on that, fix it. So next, risk, contingency and mitigation plan. That means if there is a risk, what is the alternative plan? How you can reduce that risk? Mitigation means how much you can reduce the risk. Then what is the alternative plan? What is the risk? So risk means unwanted, right? Basically, a sudden unexpected event that will cause the problem. So you cannot know if you are not ready to take up that risk, it's going to be a problem for your application and whatever it is. So what are the different risks you can tell? You can explain in the interviews. Suppose application you are testing on your environment. The environment went down. It's not in your hand. So the DevOps team has to fix that. And they are taking more time. And you have a less time to test it. So immediately they have to give it to you. Otherwise, you cannot complete it on time. Then release has to postpone. That's not a good thing, right? To postpone the release again. So make sure you prepare a shadow environment, one more environment. Keep it in reserve. If one environment is not working, other environment you can use and you can test it and you can provide a sign off. That's another. If risk is, here risk is, environment is not coming up. Environment is not working. So that is a problem from DevOps team side or some infrastructure side. There is an issue. So you have to make sure preparing another environment and test it. You should not, depends on one environment. Next risk. Suppose you are leaving the company So you know all the application properly, but new person is not there. So then immediately your manager will provide a KT to some other resource, but he is also busy, and they will recruit. But you cannot to wait for the new person comes. Until new person comes, then who will take care of this? So the manager will provide a shadow resource. A shadow resource means somebody is going to get a knowledge transfer from you, and they will provide a KT to a new person when he joins. So that's the risk. Risk is the current tester leaving the company. The current tester leaving the company. So that's the risk comes, how to handle it. So training required. For example, you are working on manual testing, but you need automation testers. Then they will provide a training for you, and you learn it and you implement in the same your application. Schedules. So when the testing starts, each phase of testing, and that will be given very clearly here. Deliverables. So while signing off time, you have to give the sign off sheet, sign off document. Your test cases, pass or fail status, bug reports, all of them you have to give. So that's all the content will be there in the test plan document. Okay, let's come back. Let's join back and we'll discuss the difference between test plan and test stats. Okay.